Can we pull off the upset with Dave Blaney? We will be starting in what is technically, based off the dual race, the 16th place position, because we were supposed to be in dual race number 2, but there was a glitch with the game that had put us in dual race number 1. We qualified 40th initially for the Daytona 500 earlier today, and in the first stream of the day, we ran dual race number 2. Race winner of that one was Kevin Harvick. We were leading on the final lap of the race. We led about, a little over a dozen laps in the race. And unfortunately, I ended up spinning in turns 3 and 4. I clipped the apron and around went the car. Luckily, I saved it, didn't hit anything, and still finished 7th. So we have a decent starting spot, but man, if we could have won, could have started 4th. I changed the gearing a little bit, messed with the setup a little bit more, trying to help the car in the pack. It was very tight in the draft and in the pack, in dirtier air. During the dual race, it was in practice as well, but it wasn't as bad as it was in practice, so it's just slowly getting better. Yeah, we'll see what we got. 500 miles, 200 laps, trying to win a championship with Dave Blaney on the 2006 season for NASCAR 07. So green flag is in the air. We're going to be underway. Mark Martin, the pole sitter for the Daytona 500, and we are racing to kickstart this season. Hopefully, we can win this. And hopefully I've got the restart gear in it. Dave Blaney just trying to get up to speed best as he possibly can. Didn't lose any positions off the initial start here, so that's good, at least for right now. And hopefully the car's not going to be too loose with the slight adjustment change prior to the start of this race. 2 more cars going to get by Dave Blaney. That's Jeff Green, Jeremy Mayfield. Blaney kissed the wall off turn 4 just a little bit. Lap 1 in the book, so Kevin Harvick, dual race winner, is going to lead the opening lap of the Daytona 500. Our goal is to make the chase. Just got to make it into the top 10. Car's still tight. I don't know why. Just sailed off into the corner like it did there into turn 1. I've hit the wall twice already, and it's only lap 2. Oh boy. Was looking at the chat at the wrong time there. I had to lift to keep from wrecking on the back straightaway. I just lost Jeremy Mayfield's draft now. Gosh darn it. That was a tight squeeze off turn 4. Lenny trying to jump back in line behind Joe Nemechek. Got to get our momentum back up again. Yeah, Ryan Berwick, Wade Zielinski, thanks for tuning in. What happened to my arms? I think the lighting is definitely making them look maybe a little bit more pale than what they are. If that's what you're talking about. I usually don't wear cutoffs in general. I'm trying to stay more cool in my room tonight. Midstream. Kissed the wall 3 times already. Oh, somebody got up against the wall even more. David Stremme and somebody else making contact. Dave Blaney moves to 12th. Jimmy Johnson, by the way, takes the lead at the very front of the field. They're pale. It's not that bad. I think you're forgetting the fact that I'm ginger. Well, my beard is, at least. I think that counts. Caution. First time today, we've already got a yellow flag in the early laps of the Daytona 500. Tony Raines, Denny Hamlin. Looked like they made contact off turn 4. Hamlin went around. Looked like he sideswiped Jeff Gordon a little bit as well. I think David Stremme might have got a piece of the incident, not Tony Raines. But we are under caution for the first time. Don't expect any pit stops with the yellow flag on lap 5. And green flag is going to be back in the air. Lap 8 restart. 3 laps spent under caution after the lap 5 incident. Well, we're up a few spots from the beginning of the race, so that's good. We're just going to go with starting 16th, even though it's technically 15th. Because that's where I should have started for this one. I think I'm a little bit better on the restarts here than what I was in the dual race, but it's not by much. I didn't want to give up too much top end speed because I know we were already going to be slow, as it was anyway. I honestly think this single file restart probably hurt us more than a double file restart. Oh my gosh. This car's still tight. I'd almost argue it's tighter now than it was before, and I don't really know how that is the case. Oh, we lost 6 spots on the restart. That's not good. Long race. Again, we're in C-tier equipment, so although the super speedways are going to be the great equalizer on speed for us, we're still going to be lacking in it. I think it's just the handling that makes the C-tier equipment C-tier equipment. Like, I think we could still have decent, like, top-end speed, but the handling is going to be way worse on this car, which is why we're not going to be able to push as hard. It's just like the duel, though. It takes a lap and a half, 2 laps, we get going. Then we're all right. Bump draft to Jeff Burton getting into turn 1. Burton down on the bottom of the racetrack, maybe 3 wide going into turn 3. Dave Blaney going to push the back of the 31 car. Oh, don't get tight there, man. Lifted into the corner. Barely clear. Dave Blaney trying to play catch up with Jeff Burton. Fastest lap in the early going for Blaney that last time by at the line. I don't think Blaney's quite close enough to keep in the draft with Jeff. Had 1 caution in the entire 60-lap dual race. Granted, that was half the field, but already 1 caution in the early going of today's Daytona 500. Premier protein powder? No. Not that I could think of. I mean, like, I've had, like, whey protein, but, like, just regular, like, protein powder. No, I haven't. Only, oh, wow, caution again. Second of the race. 2 yellows in the first 11 laps of the Daytona 500. And Tony Raines wasn't involved in the first one, but he is involved in this one. Looked like Hod's good and Tony Raines getting together off turn 4 that time. I wonder if this is a sign for things to come in today's race. Are we going to see a bunch of cautions? So far we have. Lap 13. 2 yellow flags. I was going to say creatine is another like protein supplement that I use on a regular. Not protein supplement, but like workout supplement. What did I think about the race last night? I saw your comment. I'll talk about that a little bit later in the race when we have a less stressful situation. I've definitely got some opinions on it for sure. I did talk about it obviously during the stream last night at the end of the race, but if you weren't there for the post-race, later at night. Man, Jeremy Mayfield got extremely tight there. Time lost for Dave Blaney in the 15th place position. Premier Protein is better, your grandma says. Better than what? I mean, I would assume that Premier is like the brand of it. Oh, somebody out of that lead pack just blew a motor. Jeff Green in the 66, who had a stellar season in the Mark Martin Revenge Tour campaign, finished 12th in points. Out early in the Daytona 500, so. Saw a few engine failures in just a 60-lap dual race, 3 of them to be exact. Oh, and we've got trouble off turn 4, just up ahead. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Oh! Oh! Still green. Up to 10th. I thought we were going to weasel our way all the way through there. I made just a little bit of a late move to try to get to the inside of the 122. I didn't hit him too hard in the sense that I don't think I damaged my car much. Man, there is nobody around us, in front or behind. Many seconds off Jimmy Johnson, who leads this race. Really want another caution again. We're so far back. Might as well alternate through the different camera angles then for the first time in the race while we're waiting on the rest of the pack. I mean, my thoughts on the race in general, I thought was pretty good. I thought the use of the option tires definitely helped save the race, because I felt if we had the usual, primary standard tires that we have had with the next gen, honestly, I don't think it would have been that great of a race. There was definitely more movement through the field by certain drivers when they were on option tires versus prime tires. It led for more passing because one tire was better than the other, noticeably better on the short runs and noticeably worse on the long runs. So definitely made for a lot more strategy, more passing on top of that. I think overall it was a good short track race. There was a lot more like beating and banging I noticed throughout the course of last night's race compared to what I had seen at Richmond in years past. For whatever reason, it didn't seem like there was as much of a dirty air problem, and I don't know if that was because there were warmer temperatures at Richmond, yesterday that led to just overall less mechanical grip. But yeah, as far as the finish goes, I don't think my opinion's going to really change much compared to maybe some other NASCAR YouTubers or anything of that nature, or media heads or anything of that nature in the NASCAR community goes. I don't like it. I'm somebody that, when I raced, even just growing up, I prided myself on racing clean, so I would like to think that I would never do something like that in that situation. I don't think every driver necessarily would. Interesting viewpoints that I've seen from it that I don't think anybody that is in race-winning contention on a semi-weekly basis would ever make a move like that, but because Austin Dillon is usually a guy that doesn't compete for hardly any wins, if any at all, throughout the course of a season, is going to take that kind of advantage, especially with the playoff format with the way it is. A win and you're in. I mean, he literally goes from 32nd in points going into the race to he's guaranteed to a top 16 points finish at the end of the season, no matter how good or bad he does in the chase. And for the instance of right now, he's moved up to 13th on the playoff grid. I don't like the way he did it, obviously. You know, I wish it didn't have to come to that. While you can blame the system, not everybody, I think, is going to do that under that circumstance. Like I mentioned, if it's a driver that's in contention for a win every single week, I don't think they're going to do that. And we had seen instances in the past where Austin Dillon had got dirty to try to win a race. I mean, you even look back to 2022 at Daytona. He nearly spun Austin Cindric in a race where there were like 8 cars left in it. And maybe only 3 or 4 of them didn't have damage and were competitive enough. And he nearly wrecked Austin Cindric for the win in the closing laps of that race at Daytona to get into the playoffs. So it's not a surprise, or shouldn't be a surprise, that Austin Dillon had did this. Which stinks that it had to come down to that, because he definitely ran, from what I even mentioned during the course of the stream, you know, last night with the live commentary stream, that was his best race of his NASCAR career up until that final restart. I had to hit the brakes, by the way, going into turn 3 there to keep it off the wall. And I still hit the wall. NASCAR's not going to take the win away from him. I'd be shocked if they did. Maybe there's a chance that they take away some playoff points for when the playoffs begin. I don't think Austin Dillon would be able to make it out of the round of 16 anyway, but you just never know. I mean, all it takes is a couple drivers to have DNFs in the first round. He doesn't DNF and finishes top 15 in a couple races. He could still get out of the round of 12. But then, you know, the next round he wouldn't have the playoff points. So if there is going to be any sort of a penalty for points or anything of that nature, I could see maybe playoff points taken away, but I don't think his win's going to get encumbered or anything of that nature. I've hit the wall so many times already. This car is so tight. I'm getting out of the gas, I'm tapping the brakes in the middle of the corner, and I can't keep it off the wall. Yeah, focus in a little bit more. That would probably help too. Yeah, I mean, he had the fastest car in practice. He was fast all weekend. He was literally top 6 the entire race. That was a bad block. Oh my gosh. Getting desperate, just trying to hold on to my position right now. I gotta stop hitting the wall because it's just damaging the car too much. Tony Stewart, Kyle Busch crash 2009. Tony Stewart didn't wreck Kyle Busch. Tony Stewart pretty much held his line, and Kyle Busch moved down to make a block. And it was an unsuccessful one. Honestly, that was a carbon copy of kind of what happened at the end of the 2020 Daytona 500 with Newman and Blaney. Turned into a way worse scenario, obviously, with the violence of the crash, but kind of the same thing. You know, Blaney went high, Newman went high. Blaney went low, Newman came low to block, and, you know, Blaney got into the back of him after Newman made the late block. A very similar circumstance. Yeah, that's not even comparable. I think there definitely was intent, but based off of recent precedents of what intent is in NASCAR's eyes, which is basically just admitting to doing it, the only thing Austin Dillon did in any way, shape, or form of potentially stating that he had done it is just he hates to win a race that way. That was the only thing you could take from like his post-race interview, that is any sort of substance of him in NASCAR's eyes intentionally wrecking anybody. Obviously the SMT definitely shows that he right hooked Denny Hamlin, and as far as right hooks go, we haven't seen instances where NASCAR suspended anybody because of right rear hooking somebody on a short track. We've seen people get right rear hooked on short tracks, you know, quite a bit in the lower series, really, in recent years. And if they catch it during the race, they'll give them a couple lap penalty, maybe slap a fine on them, but no suspensions. So I would expect that to more than likely be the same in this instance as well. I expect there to probably be a fine and you know, maybe even a hefty one because they didn't do anything during the race. It was at the end of the race. He still awarded him the win. A lot of bump drafting going on here. Dave Blaney trying to give Casey Mears a push. These two working well together. Blaney fell all the way back to 21st before finally being able to keep up in the draft with somebody. We've had 2 cautions in this race so far, so it's kind of extended the window as to when exactly we're going to see the first pit stop of the race. Got really loose in the tri-oval. Blaney so close to clearing Casey Mears on that outside lane into turn 1. A big run off turn 4, but just couldn't clear the 42 car. Blaney going to bump draft the 42 again. Had to lift getting into the corner to keep from making contact with Casey Kane. It's weird. It's getting loose off the exit of the corner. Car's getting loose off the exit of the corner, but getting into the corner, it's tight. Contact with Kane really slowed us down quite a bit. I don't know if we're going to be able to keep up with him anymore. I think the big thing now that we actually have a decent green flag run going, got to be thinking as to, you know, we got to stay on the lead lap to obviously stay in contention to win this race. Can't go a lap down on a super speedway, or really any track for that matter, but it's the Daytona 500. I was committed to having the car stick there. I really wanted to stay with Casey Kane in the draft, so committed to staying full throttle. Car didn't get too tight. Cleared the 42 of Casey Mears for position. Back to 19th. I mean, we're only 3 positions behind where we started this race. So ultimately, the race really hasn't been that bad for us. We've been as high as 10th in the running order. And we're staying out of trouble, even though I've scraped the wall a couple times in this one. We're doing good there. Big run middle of the tri-oval for Blaney. Looks to the inside of Casey Kane. Makes the clearance on him into turns 1 and 2. Stays in the gas. Getting a little tight, kind of running that upper lane, but clears Bobby Labonte for position. And Dale Jr. right in front of him now. Jr. looking to the bottom of the racetrack. Not all the way to the bottom, though. Dave Blaney goes all the way to the bottom. Had to lift to get into the corner there. It was very flat entry. Size down the apron. Didn't want to spin like we did towards the end of the duel. Kenseth, who blew an engine in that said dual race, has made his way through the field pretty nicely to 14th. Oh, don't hit the wall. Come on. Car underneath us was pitting. That's good. Dale Jr. cleared. First comers onto pit road. I mean, we could try to win this thing on fuel strategy if we can make it 40 laps. Make this race on 4 stops. We're obviously going to need a few extra cautions the rest of the way to do that because we've had 2 yellows so far, but we could try to win this thing on fuel mileage. Really like to try that 2-tire strategy that we did in the duels. Ideally, big run for Blaney. I don't think Jeff Burton's going to pit off turn 4 this time. Matt Kenseth does. A little hit into the wall by Blaney there off turn 4. Stays in the draft of Jeff Burton. Big run to the bottom of the track into turns 1 and 2. Got clean air on the nose into the corner. So gets it to stick at least a little bit. Slides back in line behind Jeff Burton again. Dale Jr. looking low. I would assume he's probably going to pit this time. Jeff Burton, I would assume, is not going to pit. So Blaney will still have his drafting partner. Blaney scored in 6th at the line. Oh boy, 3 wide. Blaney makes a pass. Currently 3rd during the cycling of green flag pit stops. Lap car in that 142 kind of holding up both Jeff Burton and Dave Blaney. They're drafting away from Blaney now. Dave's going to try to go one more lap. Get to lap 40 and then pit. Jeff Burton coming in right there. Casey Mears, who has already hit pit road, stays out. Blaney in first, but didn't lead that time by at the line. So Dave Blaney leads as it'll be right side tires only on this pit stop upcoming. Going to put a half around a wedge into the car. Right side tires only will be the adjustment call when this pit stop is made. Great job being able to stretch this fuel run all the way to lap 40. Got really tight. Oh boy. Contact with the 42 before trying to get to pit road. I was out of the gas for a while there too. Locked the tires up. That was not a clean pit road entry whatsoever. But we did make it to pit stops for the first time tonight. Looks like a prime drink. I've never even had a prime drink, to be completely honest. I actually just had body armor for the first time like a little over a week ago. The Ryan Blaney sponsor. I don't know why I never really thought of having it for that. Don't hit me. Oh boy. Trying to get the pack to slow down a little bit there. Oh, he cycled up position-wise. to 9th, it looks like, as Dave Blaney tries to get up to speed. Tried to get out in front of Truex for 8th. I was keeping up with him pretty well in the duel. Busch was in our duel also. Larson drinks, Brian. All right, hopefully the adjustments are going to work itself out here. Jeff Gordon starting to climb a little closer. Dave Blaney still trying to get the speed after exiting pit road. Gained track position, though, with the 2-tire stop. Interval-wise on the leader, still 11.8 seconds back. Tim Irvin, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for the $4.99 super chat also. Oh boy, that's not what we want. That's not what we want. Oh boy. 3 wide. Off of turn 2. Draft behind Kyle Busch. Try to get this momentum back. Keep Dave Blaney in the top 10. .2 seconds off the lead. Johnson's actually kind of slowly creeping in on lap traffic, too. Yeah, my birthday was yesterday. Thoughts on the race last night? Yeah, I mentioned it already. I'm probably going to get asked that a lot during the course of the stream. So I'll kind of keep it short this time. Again, overall, I thought the racing was good. Obviously, the finish was sloppy, so I'm excluding that. But I thought the option tires kind of saved the race in general, because otherwise it would have been another normal next-gen short track race. With not having as much tire fall off with the prime tires compared to the option tires, and just the difference in the two added more strategy. And I thought it honestly made for a really good race. I think it was going to be the best Richmond race of the next-gen era. And even whether it's a good finish, an ugly finish, a bad finish, I don't like to let that dictate whether it was a good race for me or not. So I still thought it was a good race overall. Finish was sloppy, for my liking. Longtime viewers of the channel would know that, I've always, even when I was racing younger, prided myself on racing clean and having respect of others on the racetrack. So obviously, stuff like that doesn't set well for me. I could go into the bigger discussion as to, should we have the playoffs, should we not have the playoffs? Ultimately, I don't think NASCAR is going to end up changing anything. A lot of fans keep asking for change. They haven't changed it in 20 years, 21 years now, technically, with this season. So I don't see them doing anything, ultimately, with changing the format. I think, if anything, they might try to... The right thing for them to do, I think, in this instance, is to try to set a precedence to say that what happened last night is not okay going forward. Kind of similar to the Hale Mellon situation, with Ross Chastain, just for safety, for safety. We don't need guys right rear hooking other guys going forward. I don't think there's going to be suspension, because we haven't seen that on a short track in this circumstance. We've seen guys getting right rear hooked on short tracks for many of years, NASCAR's history. I don't remember anybody being suspended for it. In recent history, the suspensions that were warranted for right rear hooks were on faster intermediate tracks. Laney trying to make a pass on Kyle Busch for position here. He does. Gets underneath Truex. Lifted a little bit so he can keep it off the one car. Was trying to side draft Blaney, but Blaney clear for 9th again. I'll see if Truex and Blaney can kind of pull away from the 5. Tigers won. I didn't even look to see if they won yesterday, to be completely honest. I knew they played in the afternoon. 4 o'clock, wasn't it? Our time, at least. Well, for instance, Prime hasn't been around for the entirety of the 25 years of my lifetime. No, I don't usually drink sports drinks. Like, it's straight water for me. And usually it's not even like flavored water or anything of that nature. When I was younger, I would drink like Gatorade, Powerade, just because like they would have that around like when I played sports growing up and stuff. The coaches would bring like Gatorades, Powerades, and stuff like that, so I'd drink that from time to time. On my own, I would buy a Powerade here and there, but yeah, I haven't even drank that stuff since like high school. Yeah, I would like to think in a championship race that nobody would do that for a championship. If Austin Dillon's in the championship board, then, you know, we clearly know he would do that. But, considering he has done it once before, unless NASCAR tells him not to do it again, then we'd kind of be forcing his hand, I guess. Or he'd be forcing their hand. And I will say, to reiterate my statements from last night, too, in the midst of the commentary, I said that it was the most Dale Earnhardt-like move I had ever seen. I did not once say that Austin Dillon was Dale Earnhardt or is anywhere in Dale Earnhardt's league. I didn't look back at the comment section exactly when I said that, but I have a feeling with, you know, other people on the internet saying that and refutes to that kind of a statement. Yes, I'm well aware that Austin Dillon is nowhere near Dale Earnhardt's caliber. What I meant by the statement I made last night and saying that that was the most Dale Earnhardt move is in a situation where Dale Earnhardt would have the fastest car in the race, which Austin Dillon the entire second half of the race did last night, and in a situation where I believe that if Dale Earnhardt had a last lap, you know, 2 lap to go shootout like last night's race, had the lead, had the fastest car, lost the lead, he was going to do whatever it took to win that race. And that is exactly what Austin Dillon did in the instance of last night's race. That is why I said that that was the most Dale Earnhardt move I had ever seen. Because we had seen instances in the past where Earnhardt, I'm not saying he would go out there trying to wreck guys to win every single week, but in the instances he did, he had a fast car. If not the fastest car in the race, the 1999 race with Terry Labonte, for instance, he was closing on Labonte. He was there. He couldn't get around him. And when time was running out, he turned Labonte coming to the checker, and Dale Sr. ended up winning the race. He had the fastest car. So that's kind of what I meant by that. I in no means said that Austin Dillon was Dale Earnhardt, so I don't want anybody that might have been watching the stream last night to get misconstrued with that. That's not what I meant by that comment. I just meant that I felt like if Dale Earnhardt, I'm not counting the playoffs, I'm just saying to win a race, in an instance where Dale Sr. would have had the fastest car, maybe he wouldn't have I don't want to say maybe he wouldn't have right-hooked Denny Hamlin, because we did see him do that 2 years with Terry Labonte in the 90s. 1 year he won it, 1 year he didn't. But, yeah, I'm just gonna stop while I'm ahead. I made my comment. I stand by it, but I did want to reiterate exactly what I meant by that, because I didn't go into great detail about that last night. I just kind of said it in the moment. Austin Dillon did get screwed with the caution. Yeah, I mean, that's why I feel like in that similar situation, we'll never know. You know, it's obviously opinionated. It's not a factual statement that I'm saying, but yeah, I'm not trying to justify what Austin Dillon was right, and I'm not justifying what Dale Sr. did back, you know, in those instances he did was right. You know, he got booed by the fans in the stands, so I'm not saying, you know, in any way, shape, or form it was right, but it was a Dale Earnhardt-esque move. I've stated even on the channel before, like, drivers that would have raced like that, like if I had been old enough to remember watching NASCAR in the 90s, I was born in 99. So just for the sake of not being around for the large majority of Dale Sr.'s, competitive career, I probably wouldn't have been a Dale Sr. fan just because of that kind of driving style he had. I probably would have been a fan of Mark Martin, honestly. Like, looking back on it, just a clean driver, fast, he can go out there and win races. That probably would have been, my guy. Maybe a guy like a Labonte or something. Like, that style of driver, I think, probably would have been my favorite because that's what I wanted to replicate when I was on the racetrack, All my wins in, quarter midgets or go-karting, I never once moved anybody out of the way. I've been moved out of the way several times. I've also been on the benefit side of things. I've seen a couple guys wreck in front of me, and I ended up winning the race, kind of Kyle Busch style at, Dirt Bristol a couple years ago or something like that. Those are the fun ones to win, but I wasn't the one that was causing the wreck, so I was all right with it. Can't believe Logano got booed. That's just the day and age that we live in with NASCAR. That if a driver is already hated at track specifically, maybe not online. Oh, we got trouble off turn 4. Smoke from somebody out in front of us. But we do stay green. But yeah, no matter who's in the run, look at Denny Hamlin with Alex Bowman at Martinsville a couple years ago. Fans were already hating on Hamlin. Bowman spins Hamlin out by accident, overdriving a corner late in the race for the win. And Hamlin was still getting booed after the race, even though he had every right to be upset at the situation. It's a similar thing we saw with Logano. The day and age of NASCAR fans now is if we hate the guy, we're going to hate the guy through and through, even if he is in the wrong. Or even if he's in the right, And the guy we like is in the wrong, we're still going to back him. That's the day and age of, NASCAR fans that we have, I guess. At track. See, the internet, you can air your frustrations out immediately, but there is a little bit of time between you making a post or reacting to something that had already happened versus when you're in the moment to get the live reaction of it, especially if you're there. It's going to be just a little bit different. You have a different interpretation of it. Well, we're definitely in the process of trying to gain on positions on track during this green flag run. This second run, a lot better for Dave Blaney with the field spread apart than what the first couple of green flag runs were in that first tire stint before, or after the couple restarts, I should say, when we were kind of losing time. Speaking of losing time, don't want to lose Truex here. Only 7.5 seconds off the lead. Again, Blaney was 12.2 seconds back. Blaney trying to stay with Truex. Not going to be easy. I think this 41, Reed Sorensen's a lap down. And he is. David Stremme not that much further up ahead, also a lap down. Truex side by side with the 40. Truex has some huge pushes from Dave Blaney. In the 22, a little contact getting into the corner. I didn't lift. Ideally, I probably should have, but I thought I was going to lose too much momentum if I did. Really hoping we didn't make contact there. Well, Truex falls back to 8th. Should be able to recover at least in line behind Stremme. He's still side by side with Sorensen, so he didn't lose too much time, interval-wise. And post a reaction. That's because both of those videos got copyrighted, so I'm not doing that again. I feel like some people can kind of get around that. I don't have luck with getting around that kind of stuff, so even the highlights that I will post, like, of my commentary, I'll still get copyrighted for it, even though it's literally my own commentary of the race as it happens. See Mark Martin, I think Kurt Busch up here. Dave Blaney trying to hold on with Ryan Newman in the 12. "60 laps into the Daytona 500. We've had 2 cautions today. Lap 5 and lap 13 were the yellows. Halfway through the second fuel run. Ideally, if we can make it around lap 80 before pitting, that would be great, because we did make it 40 laps before the first pit stop. If we can get to within 5 seconds of Jimmy Johnson, there is a chance we could come out with the lead with another 2-tire stop. Big run for Blaney on the back straightaway, 3 wide under Martin and Newman. Trying to clear them both to get to Kurt Busch. Busch moves to the bottom. Perfect drafting line for Blaney. And how about this? Dave Blaney, for the first time today, is inside the top 5 in the Daytona 500. The draft, the great equalizer. And with C-tier equipment, we're trying to pull off a major upset here today. Super Speedway is probably going to be the only chance we're going to have of trying to do this. Blaney now to 4th into turn 1. Was clear of Kurt Busch, but decided not to pull down in front of him. Really didn't even want to get alongside of him, but didn't want to risk potentially knocking him up into the fence like we did with Truex. And so decided to just take the run. I mean, I watch other stuff on YouTube. I watch a lot of wrestling-oriented content. But other than, you know, live sports and stuff, that's really about all I watch. Listening to music a lot. Product, of course, of Dave Blaney having as good of a run as he's having tonight, too, is staying out of trouble. He scraped the wall a few times. The handling of the car isn't great, but again, if we could stay in the draft, the speed can be there, and that has been the case so far here tonight. No, I don't really watch, like, random stuff, I guess, on YouTube. Try not to. You might see like random clips of something here and there, but try not to go out of my way to watch any of that. Yeah, 5.3 seconds back. Blaney and Kurt. Jimmy Johnson's been leading for an awfully long period of time. Dave Blaney clears Kurt Busch for position. Kurt got caught behind some other lap cars. Blaney going to try to draft with Kyle Petty in the 45 car, and not sure Petty's going to have a lot of speed to be able to get to the next couple cars per position. Oh, and he got up against the wall, and Blaney got into the side of him, getting into turn 1. It's going to kill the momentum for this 22 car. I don't know. I just, like, I don't... I try not to oversaturate my life with being on the internet, I guess, is what I try not to do. Oh, boy, got some smoke up here. Off turn 4, another near incident. Staying green for an awfully long period of time, though. About a 54-lap green flag run. Kind of nice in a way to go to this outside lane because it does give me clean air. Just got to really hope that the car down on the bottom doesn't throw a block. I'm feeling later in the race they may try to do that, so that could cause a wreck, but so far we're doing pretty good. But yeah, Dave Blaney's been as high as 4th place in this Daytona 500 so far. Currently sits in 5th. Handling's been pretty good. Not having any like major moments where I'm burning the tires off the car. Quarter tank of gas left this point in the run. Definitely not going to be able to make it to lap 80 before we have to pit again. So I'm not going to focus on trying to stretch the run out as far as it did earlier. That Truck Series race, a lot of the guys we were trying to draft off have kept running the outside. I couldn't run the outside lane very well. Luckily for Dave Blaney in this Daytona 500, a lot of the drivers he has tried to draft with have been running the inside lane in the corners, and that has worked out well for him. And massive bump drafts down this back straightaway, which is risky to do on this bumpy Daytona surface with the Gen 4 cars, but Blaney's done a great job all race long. Having those extra 60 laps of basically practice with the duels, I think, really helped. Johnson still on track, 4.5 seconds off the lead for Kurt Busch and Dave Blaney. Really hoping Kurt Busch can somehow make it as far as us on fuel. A couple cars pitting there. Tony Stewart and a lapper. I imagine Stewart would have been for position, because that did move Blaney up to 3rd. 130 laps left in the Daytona 500. Definitely going to be another 2-tire stop for the 22 team, but it'll be left sides only this time around. Very high probability I'm going to take that half around a wedge back out of it again, just for this next stop. Lap car might cost Dave Blaney trying to keep up with Kurt Busch. That was close to making contact with him. Boy, oh boy. Kurt decided to run the outside that time. Blaney kisses the wall. Left sides are pretty old, though. Again, they've been on the car since the start of the race. Oh, boy. Practically knocked Kurt Busch up against the wall there. And the lap car in the 109. Taking away that outside lane. Dave Blaney trying to keep up with Kurt Busch. May lose him. Oh, reels him back in again. Question, is Kurt Busch pitting this time? No, he is not. Jimmy Johnson's going to pit this time. So Kurt Busch going to lead in the Daytona 500. And I believe this is the first time he has led all race. Dave Blaney in second. Going to try to pick Kurt Busch behind the lap traffic. Dave Blaney to the lead into turn one. Oh, but he gets tight. A little contact with Scott Riggs. Luckily able to drive off of him. Blaney trying to lead his first lap of the night. Get 5 bonus points. Kurt Busch looking low. He's not going to pit this time. Blaney obviously isn't either. And Dave Blaney will lead his first lap of the Daytona 500. 5 bonus points for the 22 team. Lifts quite a bit getting into turns 1 and 2. Big run getting a little tight. Again, those left sides very old. A little more contact again with this 151 car.
Number 151, clear, all clear.
So Kurt Busch is pitting. Dave Blaney will stay out one more lap. So this will be a 36 lap run, all under green flag for Blaney in between pit stops. Again, it will be left side tires only for the 22 team. The 109 car down on the bottom of the racetrack trying to get up to speed, leaving pit road. Dave Blaney will get down to the bottom after clearing him. And again, Blaney will pit this time off turn 4. Can't afford a speed. Good pit road entry. Left side tires only. Going to take that half around to wedge back out of the race car again. Couple races this year, drivers get screwed out of wins due to late race cautions. Playoff format. Yeah, and a lot of those wins are where the underdog drivers have won a race this year. You know, like Joey Logano hasn't had a great season. That's how he won at Nashville with all those late race restarts. But we have had a lot of overtime finishes this season. And we started the year with not so many of them. Really, a lot of these overtime finishes have come, you know, in the recent months of the schedule from like June onwards. Dave Blaney trying to get up to speed here in this Daytona 500 as quickly as he can. It's going to take a minute, but he is the race leader with this 2-tire stop. Again, left sides only for the 22 team. Trying to take control of this race. Best thing that happened to this 22 team is this race going as long as it has since the last caution. Jeremy Mayfield clips the wall off turn 4. Might slow his momentum down enough for Dave Blaney to keep up in the draft. It's going to be hard to tell for sure. A 1.6 second lead for Dave Blaney in the Daytona 500 as he's up to speed into turn 1 here. As he tries to cling in the draft of Jeremy Mayfield. Obviously, these cars right behind the 22 trying to get back on the lead lap in case a caution comes out.
high.
149 up high. Blaney going to get in line behind him. Tony Stewart looks to be the second place car right now. Blaney going to do his best to try to stay in the draft with this 149 car and hopefully stay ahead of Tony Stewart is going to be the plan. Stewart only about 0.4 of a second behind Dave Blaney. Jimmy Johnson right in line behind Stewart. 49 car clips the wall.
Still on target.
Off turn 2, Blaney gets underneath him.
Still there. Hanging tough. Still hanging on. Got both sides. They're all clear. The 20 car is
Here comes the 20 of Tony Stewart. With 120 laps to go. Long ways out yet in this one. Johnson lurking back to the inside of Tony Stewart. I mean, the fact that, again, I qualified 40 at single car speed with this 22 is really C-tier equipment. It is true. There's going to be races we're not going to run well this season. But our goal is to ultimately try to make this chase under the original chase format, which is 10 drivers, solely based off of points. So a huge points day with winning the Daytona 500, already leading laps, of course, along the way. Could be massive for this 22 team. On top of course, winning the Great American Race, which anybody would want to do. Oh, 149 hits the wall right in front of Blaney. Blaney still with the perfect bump draft off turn 4.
number 149. Down low, down low. Okay, we're clear. The 149 car is up high.
Blaney going to put the 149 a lap down again. Jeremy Mayfield, last car in the lead lap, is who Blaney's going to try to draft with next as he tries to stay ahead of Tony Stewart and Jimmy Johnson. 46.08 won that last lap, fastest lap of the race for the 22.
Still beside you.
Contact with Jeremy Mayfield getting down into the first turn.
Still there. Clear.
Let's see. Try to get to your comment, Tim. Give me a second. Get to the back straightaway. What do you think happens from here? If a driver wreck others to win, like, is a win worth a penalty? Well, it depends what the penalty is going to be. Like, if they dock, I feel like at worst, they will dock Austin Dillon playoff points. I don't even think that that's 100% guaranteed it's going to happen by any means, but I feel like that's the worst that could happen. I think it's worth it if you're a driver that can't necessarily compete for a championship, you know, like an Austin Dillon. You know, what is docking playoff points going to do for him? He still goes from 32nd to 16th in points no matter what happens the rest of the season. Like, he literally cuts his points finish in half. If you're somebody that's outside the top 16 in points, I don't think that's going to really prevent anybody from doing anything like this to win. This isn't going to be a common thing. It hasn't been a common thing before, but it is things that we have seen in the past. Not necessarily to this degree, but oh boy. Just shipped Jeremy Mayfield into the wall. That bump trapped in the middle of the corner didn't work out very well. 1 second, Lee. Gonna have to let Mayfield get back around us here. There he goes. Take the switch. All right. I mean, it took so long for the field to get spaced out enough, obviously, that lap traffic became possible. We've now been green for a little over 70 laps. A little over 75 laps since the last caution. Two sets of green flag pit stops. It's going to be hard with one more yellow for us to get back in this kind of a situation where we're kind of steadily in the lead. So that's why I really want this thing to stay green the rest of the way. It's going to be our best chance to win this Daytona 500. Minute of caution comes out, that puts more variables involved in the race. Because honestly, what we're looking at right now is a 3-stopper from here to the finish. We've made 2 stops already. We thought it could potentially be a 4-stop race if we had enough yellows in it. And I was going to look to try to win this thing on fuel mileage. And that bump draft did not go well. And Jeremy Mayfield sideways into the first turn. Does make the save. He rejoins the track behind Tony Stewart. Well, it's really the first time that the bump drafting has gone that wrong for Dave Blaney. Now he has to hang on Jimmy Johnson. Or Tony Stewart, rather, until Jimmy Johnson gets up here. Let's alternate through the different camera angles once again in this one. Oh, that was a bad block.
Clear, all clear. Going hot.
Stewart doesn't get there that time.
The 20 car is going low. Going on.
Johnson has caught.
Still on target. Official base station. Alright, buddy, let's get out there.
Tony Stewart and
All clear.
Dave Blaney. Blaney able to cut the run off of Jimmy Johnson. Sits behind Tony Stewart now. Big run for the 22, looking low for the lead. Into turns 3 and 4 on Stewart.
That's what I like to see out there. Great job, buddy.
Blaney clear, slides up. How about that? Clean pass. Oh, Stewart got up against the wall off turn 4. Somebody was down looking to pit there. Also off turn 4 on the apron of the racetrack. I believe it was somebody that blew an engine. Yeah, racing as Dave Blaney for this season. Trying to make our championship run a lot harder than what we would have had with Mark Martin in our Revenge Tour season with him.
Be about halfway.
Halfway through the fuel run. We're almost halfway through the race.
Okay, we're back in second. Alright, buddy, just trust the car, buddy. He'll get you back out there.
Blaney just gets back in front of Jimmy Johnson. That was close. Johnson right there on this 22 car. There's the run through the tri-oval by Dave Blaney. Gets to the inside of Stewart.
Seconds up. Just moved into first. That's what I like to see. Keep that pace. The 20 car is closing the gap. Clear, clear.
Still side by side for the lead. All the way through turns 1 and 2. Johnson's going down on the bottom here with the 22 car. Stewart's still up high.
Still there.
And now Johnson goes with the 20.
Still alongside. Second position now. Alright, buddy. Take your time. Take your spot. Let's size this guy up and do what we want to make her.
Dale Jarrett in third place, closing in from behind. Nice little battle going on up here. Blaney pushes Johnson. Jimmy with a run. Blocks the 22 into turn 3. Blaney going to stay with the 48. Johnson back out in front as he's cleared off turn 4. Blaney could not clear the 20. A little contact, in fact, with Stewart off turn 4. A little more leanage. That only propelled Stewart out ahead. Might have slowed Blaney down a little too much. Either really good or really bad, yeah. I qualified 40th, so if that tells you what kind of single car speed I have in this thing, that would be it. Oh man, a lot of smoke off turn 4 up there. No caution for that either. We've seen that several times during this green flag run, but no yellow produced from it. Stewart looking back to the inside of Johnson for the lead. Blaney's going to get underneath both of them. 3 wide for the lead in the Daytona 500. Didn't quite work out. Try to get them both. Oh, it's shoved. Well, he holds on to it enough. Don't know if I'm clear. Yep, we're clear. Clear for second. We'll push from JJ down the backstretch before he pulled to the bottom. Big run for Blaney on Stewart. Into turn 3. Blaney to the inside of the 20. Wasn't able to clear, though. At least Blaney was able to hop back in line. Halfway home, 100 laps complete, 100 still to go in the Daytona 500 as we try to run a miraculous season here with the 22 Bill Davis Racing, Dave Blaney Dodge. Blaney clear in the middle of 3 and 4, up high. Stewart cuts back down to the bottom, and another block down low. Oh, Stewart pops the wall up turn 4. He's going to lose his momentum quite a bit. Johnson looks low. Stewart blocks the 48. Caution. Caution at lap 102. Our third yellow of the race. And our first caution since lap 13. Joe Nemechek goes for a spin. And a hard hit into the turn 2 wall. Oh boy, a couple others piled in afterwards. I thought it was just going to be a one-car wreck. Michael Waltrip kind of barely hit Nemechek, but then ARCA breaking in there was Jamie McMurray, Tony Raines, and Brian Vickers. So we're going to pit. I'd imagine the rest of the field is going to pit here also. And might as well take 4 tires under this situation, excuse me. So 4 tires, a full tank of Sunoco race fuel. And you just got to hope if you're Dave Blaney, you can hang on to the lead. Did not need a yellow. We were in a prime position there at the top 3. This car doesn't take off well in the restarts. Lost, what, 6 positions on the last restart? I mean, I fell back to 21st before I was able to finally work my way up to the lead. Just before lap 80. Definitely didn't win the race out of pits. Looks like Jimmy Johnson won the race off of pit road.
The cars at the head of the pack didn't pit.
And quite a few lap cars here. There were, I mean, all the lap cars could have stayed out, but lead lap cars all pitted. 95 to go. Green flag back in the air in the Daytona 500.
Hanging tough. Still hanging on.
3 wide.
He's still there.
On the restart. Initially, some of the lap cars getting out ahead of Jimmy Johnson. Blaney at the very least trying to hold on for 3rd. This car just takes so long to get up to speed. I messed with the gearings as much as I could. It's better than what it was in the duel, but still not great.
Number 7. Outside.
I probably should have went 2 tires just to try to win the race off pit road. Hold on to the lead. We got a slide.
Let's protect that
Blaney holds on to it. Caution's out for the 4th time. Oh boy. Pushed a little wide up into Robbie Gordon. I think we held on to our position before the caution came out. I couldn't tell if I lost a couple spots before that or not. Saw Jeff Gordon, a couple other cars get by me on the outside. Hopefully I didn't burn the tires off the car too badly. Nope, still in 3rd. We're all right. Let's hope I didn't hurt the tires too bad. That's all I hope. There's a couple cars that got by Johnson on the restart are now back on the lead lap. So the green flag is back in the air. Blaney pushed the 45 car off into turn 1. Got him out ahead of Jimmy Johnson. Blaney gets by Kurt Busch for 2nd. Definitely the best restart we've had today. Gotta hang on to it though. Fortunately, Johnson's pulling away, but it is a mess behind us. 2 and 3 wide. .1 seconds behind the 48. Just in case we get another yellow, I almost don't want to lose another spot. Let somebody back in front of us, but we're going to lose a lot of time to Johnson. Hoping I can maybe catch one of these lap cars and just draft with them up to the 48 instead. Without having to lose a position. Kurt Busch and Dave Blaney have been working well together for most of the race. Might end up working with him if we have to.
1.5 seconds off the leader, buddy. Watch the inside.
There goes Kurt. All 3 of those lap cars right in between the top couple in the running order. Kurt getting a draft off the lappers in front of him, and that is going to pull Dave Blaney forward. Sadler also going with the 22 and the 2 to stay in front of Jeff Gordon. Kurt goes wide. Off of turn 4. That puts Blaney to the bottom 3 wide. Lapper still up high. 1 second now off the race lead. Kurt's not running the bottom of the racetrack anymore, and I don't like that. He was running the bottom a lot earlier. Dave's car just doesn't handle well to run the outside, even with the adjustments made. Just gets in line in front of Jeff Gordon. Kurt goes to the bottom this time through 3 and 4. 2 more lap cars at the big stack up. I think Kyle Petty might have hit the wall. That's going to actually work out because Mayfield got to the inside of Petty. Oh, but now he moves up a little early. Blaney back into 2nd, gets by the lappers into turn 1. Kurt Busch, Jeff Gordon back there. Gordon going to pick Kurt behind the lap cars on the outside, so Jeff gets to 3rd. Really wanted to work with the 19 car there, but immediately went to the high side as soon as he cleared the 45, and it left the bottom open with an already head of steam from Dave Blaney. All right, well, here's Jeff Gordon. Gordon looks to the inside in the trial. Dave Blaney going to get in line behind him. Gordon in the middle groove on entry, stays to the bottom now in the center of the corner. He's got to hope when he catches the 48 car that he doesn't pull away from the 22. Good news is the 2 of Kurt Busch still right there on the back bumper of Dave Blaney. Big time push down the backstretch. Blaney going to get to second, may have a chance to get by Johnson for the lead. Also into turn 1. Wow, he got by both. Power move. What a run. '22 leads. I can't be doing that. I just gave it right back up. Didn't even lead a lap in that transition. Can't be doing that. Slow car in 3 and 4. There's that car down on the apron. It's like Reed Sorensen in the 41. Dave Blaney back to the lead.
Number 24 is looking to make a move on you.
So tough for anybody to hold on to this lead. Oh boy. Hung up on the left rear corner panel of Jeff Gordon in the middle of 3 and 4. Didn't think Gordon was going to leave that much of the bottom open. There's a run off turn 2. Trying to side draft. Door to door down the back straightaway into turn 3. Still can't hold on with him. Johnson to the inside of Dave Blaney for second, but Kurt Busch didn't stay with the 48 car. Five-car group up here at the front of the field. It's Jeff Gordon, Dave Blaney, Jimmy Johnson, Elliott Sadler, and Kurt Busch. Yeah, the share drive doesn't really mean anything to stay on the bottom of the racetrack. If anything, they might actually move to the outside just because they're allies with you, so they're kind of giving you the clearance to make a pass on the bottom, but then sometimes when they're allies, they still crowd you, so I don't really think it matters. This 24 car is strong. Oh boy. Quite a bit of contact with Jimmy Joe. Didn't realize Sadler was up there either. I was moving up, and I didn't think the 38 was up there. I thought he held up behind Johnson. Gordon's running away now. Johnson back up into the traffic just behind him. Everything's good. We're all good. Nothing to see here. Somebody's going to have to get back in front of me again.
Number 38 is closing the gap. Looking to pass right.
See if it's going to be Sadler. Oh, well, maybe not. I think Mayfield got into the side of the 38 car off turn 4, and now Blaney's by himself in second as Jeff Gordon continues to pull away again. Yeah, that caution that came out when we were leading at lap 102 was the worst. There's so many other variables with other cars now back in contention. And obviously now we're not in the lead anymore. Led for a little bit during this green flag run, but... And 4 cautions in today's race. And everybody's going to have to pit 2 more times yet in this one as well. Window just about open to make it from now to the end with 2 stops. 4 seconds now behind the race leader. Sadler not giving Blaney a lot of room there. Blaney getting brake train. Not going to be able to get out in front of Johnson. I was hoping I could. But couldn't. JJ Haley. Trying to lift and dive in line behind him. There we go. Oh, fell back to 7th. Keep it green. Keep it green. We're not going to catch Jeff Gordon before we pit again. The hope is just to kind of stay in this draft. Don't lose too many more positions. Actually try to pick up a spot on the back straightaway to the outside of Yaley. There we go, up to 6th. Get back up to 2nd ideally if we can here. Or 3rd, I mean. 2nd in line. I did not want to be in the middle 3 wide. Yaley's going with us. Hang on to it. Oh, what a move by Dave Blaney. I guess it worked out well for us. Oh boy, Yaley trying to do the same thing. He almost got up into Kurt Busch into turn 1. Up the middle, 3 wide to get to 4th. Blaney with a move under Earnhardt. For 3rd, he's got him. There we go. And now bump draft to the back of Elliott Sadler on the back straightaway into turn 3. Lifting. Getting into the corner. Oh boy. Trying to make sure. Keep it off the wall. He had quarter century mark yesterday. Massive run here for Dave Blaney. wouldn't say this has been the perfect duo so far, but it's been a good duo. Blaney pushing in the middle of the corner through 3 and 4. Trying to stay in the gas as much as he possibly can. Now into the tri-oval. 2.1 seconds off the lead at the start-finish line that last time by. As Elliott Sadler and Dave Blaney continue to try to close on Jeff Gordon. There you go. Birthday's only a little over a month apart. I didn't think we were going to get to Gordon before we got to the next pit stops. We're only 1.3 seconds behind him now. We may get to Gordon before we get to pit stops. Well, even better for us. It's more of a chance we cycle out to the lead. Got to make sure when we get to him that Sadler doesn't just pull away from us with Jeff. "70 laps to go in the Daytona 500 this time by. Six-tenths of a second off the lead. Chevy, Ford, and a Dodge up at the front of the field. And he still doesn't feel he's close enough to try to make this pass on Sadler to get to Jeff Gordon. Pushes him all the way into the corner. That's where he's just got to really hope that the 38 and the 24 don't work together to pull away from the 22. There's nobody behind the 22 to help push him to keep him up in the draft with these guys. There's a run through the tri-oval. Blaney going to try to go for second, and he's got it. Had a little contact with Elliott Sadler. But he is up to second place. A little rub and run as he got by him. Now run on the back straightaway, and Blaney looks for the lead again. Coming up on 68 laps to go at the line. Let's go. Dave Blaney again leads the Daytona 500. I qualified 40th. I didn't think I had any sort of a shot of winning this thing. We're here this late in the race. We've got to capitalize on at least a good finish. I mean, we only have 2 stops. If it stays green the rest of the way, I like our chances of at least getting, you know, a top 3, top 5 run at the very least. We're going to continue to try the 2-tire strategies like we did in the first 2 green flag stops. Our last stop was under caution, so we just took 4. We're going to go right sides only on the next pit stop. Again, assuming it is going to be in the green. Contact there on turn 4. Gordon got into the left turn corner panel of Dave Blaney. Blaney holds on to the lead. Lap 134 at the line. I think Gordon got tight. Blaney crowded Gordon there, but never made contact with him. Clean blocks. Why do you always do that, man? I scratch my nose a lot because of my allergies. I get like a tickle in my nose quite a bit. I'm trying not to sneeze. I'm picking my nose. I feel like there's like first-time viewers of the channel that are watching when you mention that every so often. I feel like they're going to be like, oh, this guy's disgusting. picking his nose in front of
Number 38 is looking low.
tens of hundreds of people every weekend.
Car inside. He's the leader now. All right, buddy, let's get out there. This is your race to win. All clear, bud.
Here we go. Sadler to the lead. I don't think he's led a lap yet. He ain't going to lead this time by. I know Jimmy Johnson led a really good chunk in the first third of this race, and just beyond that, too, before Blaney was able to get to the lead. I'm really trying to see if there's a way we can lead the most laps in this race. That's why I keep trying to lead. We need all the bonus points we can get if we're going to want to make the chase. We have to win some strategy races or try to find a way to strategize ourselves into good finishes on these intermediates and stuff when I'm not going to have the speed. And these super speedways, we got to capitalize it and get good finishes here too. And it's a freaking Daytona 500. We want to win this thing. I mean, yeah, we want to get a good finish, but it's a Daytona 500. We only get one shot at this with Dave Blaney. So let's make it happen. A little bit of smoke off turn 4 from the last lap, but there was no caution. Oh boy, I thought Sadler was there and I still moved down. Luckily he wasn't there and Blaney was clear with another clean, successful block. And now he's going to get to the outside. Dale Jr.'s kind of in the mix out of nowhere. Catching up to this group of 3. Oh boy, Jeff Gordon to the bottom. Sadler rubs the wall. 3 wide for the lead on the back straightaway.
We lost the lead. All right, buddy, take your time, take your spot. Let's size this guy up and see what we want to make our move. Still alongside. The 38 car.
Big run into the corner here.
Can't leave laps with no fuel. Head now. Still beside you. Keep it
Oh boy, contact. A lot of contact.
making his move on the right.
Blaney holds on to the lead.
You're clear.
Oh boy. I don't even think Dale Jr.'s led a lap in this race yet, but obviously up in contention right now. Almost to the end of this fuel run. Well, Sadler and Gordon are actually pitting off of turn 4 that time. While Blaney and Earnhardt continue to stay out on the racetrack.
Clear, all clear, whatever you need. Number 8, has a run. Watch him to make a move.
What about Austin Schneider? Oh, see what you did there. Stop it. It was 3 wide middle. I just kind of ran out of talent there and didn't hold my line. Is that what's just going to happen now? I feel like in the NASCAR gaming community where somebody makes a little bit of contact with somebody and they're just all of a sudden going to, well, Austin Dillon would have done the same thing.
Whatever you need, clear, clear.
My car's been tight the whole race. It hasn't been obnoxiously tight, so I'm kind of like making minor adjustments every pit stop depending on the tire strategy. You know, 4, 2, depending on what side the tires are to kind of help keep the balance relatively the same. Well, if Earnhardt hasn't led yet, he's not going to lead this time by at the line either.
Let's see if we can put some distance on the field.
Blaney clear.
On both sides.
Earnhardt continues to stay out on the track. We're going to pit next time by, lap 141. So Dave Blaney will pit this next time by with 60 laps to go. locking Earnhardt to the bottom. I think there's a good chance Junior's pitting this time. Blaney will be on his way in. Again, it'll be right sides only. Earnhardt in. Blaney will be in. And again, right sides only for Dave Blaney. Going to put a half around a wedge back into the race car. Yeah, one more after this. You are correct. I don't know that we've seen the last caution this race. I hope we have, because our best chance of winning is less yellows. Oh boy, a little mistake on pit road. They made a mistake in practice on the pit stop there, but not in the race until just then. A little slow on the right sides. I almost wonder with this crew if we're going to have more mistakes than I would have had with the Mark Martin season. Dale Jr. like right behind us. We didn't really gain much time with that right side only stop. Well, Blaney out on the raceway. Cycles through J.J. Yaley. And it looks like 7 other cars ahead of us would have stayed out at least one more lap. It's not going to really make the strategy any different. Kind of really the strategy from here on out is about what it was in the duel. It's just kind of one stop. It's going to be with about 30 to 40 laps left in the, or sorry, 20 to 30 laps left in the race when that stop will be made. This might be a lap car that's behind us right now in the 142. I'm not entirely sure. 144, excuse me. Kurt and Yaley. So officially, Dave Blaney will be back in the lead this time. But we're going to let this one... Okay, so the 144 gets by. He is a lap down. So Blaney can still lead and have one drafting partner. This guy fell way off the pace. He's still got decent pace. There's a chance for Dave Blaney to try to hold on to a bigger lead. Had a heartbreaker in that dual race earlier. We spun on the last lap, last corner. Just clipped the apron. That was all. All it took for that to happen, unfortunately. It's over a 2-second lead for the 22 team. One can of gas, give me to the fuel window. It'd be risky. I'd probably go 3/4 of a tank just to be safe, but that should be plenty at least. Yeah, I could probably do that to try to shorten up the last stop a bit. Oh, I didn't need that. I didn't need that. I feel like I got close to him and then I just kind of got sucked up into him. Why is it that like I just... In situations where I'm running good, all I gotta do is be patient, stay behind the car around me, and I still somehow find a way to make contact with him. That isn't bump drafting. It's a combination of them getting out of my line and I'm getting out of their line, and we just kind of hang on each other. The only thing with one can is that that's only a half a tank of gas. I don't know that a half a tank would be good enough to make it to the end. Because we can go about 36 laps without any cautions on fuel. We pitted with, what, 60 to go? I don't want to risk being a couple laps short to the end. Even if we get a caution. Oh boy. A lot of smoke in the middle of 3 and 4. No caution for whatever that was, too. Stay green. Whatever it is, NASCAR, keep it green. Unless there's debris on the track, I don't want to risk running that over. Or if it's a spin, keep it green. Well, again, Blaney to the outside.
Still there. All clear.
I mean, that's true. I guess the fuel cells are a little bit shorter on the super speedways this time in NASCAR, but still don't want to risk it. I mean, our pit stop will be quick enough, taking 2 tires again. Go left sides only, so if it does stay green to the end of the race. Honestly, even if we get a caution and we're in the fuel window to pit to the end, I don't think I'm taking 4 because it took me a while to get back to the lead on the restart because I didn't win the race off pit road. I lost 2 spots, went from 1st to 3rd, and I didn't get back to the lead for like almost 20 laps. So even if we get a caution, I'm going to just take 2 tires and try to keep track position still. If we have to pit, if we're still outside the window, obviously we'll stay out and we'll go for lefts. But yeah, I think whether we get a caution or not, the right sides we have on the car right now are going to stay on here to the end of the race. We'll have to change the lefts because we only changed rights on the last stop. Full tank for a green-white checkered. That's true. We would have 1 attempt. I'll see when we get there, because obviously the plan is going to be to stay out of the pits as long as we can. Well, I mean, I could probably pit a couple laps earlier on the next stop. Once we start seeing cars hit pit road, I think I should probably pit. You hit the wall and then I hit the wall. And Gina nearly 2-second lead. $50 laps to go in the Daytona 500 this time by. We've led at the 100 to go mark. We're leading at the 50 to go mark. Now can we lead the checkered flag mark? Left front in the yellow on the tire wear indicator. Those right side tires are going to have to go 60 laps, which is as long as my lefts ended up going the entirety of the dual race. The rights will probably wear out just a little bit more than the lefts. That's with it being a left-handed turn track, with it being an oval, but still holding on well. Stays green to the end. We'll probably catch more lap cars to the end of this race too. It's 144, just for whatever reason fell way out of the lead pack. Big lead, take tires. No, I don't want to risk it. I mean, our pit crew made a mistake on the last stop. We took right sides only. We pitted with the lead, and we still only came out 2 seconds ahead of them. No, I'm not going to risk it. I'm staying on strategy. Put my foot down, easy. I feel confident in it. Yeah, the only thing I think I would do is probably take 3/4 of a tank of gas. More than likely. Fuel window going to open up in about 11 more laps. Honestly, if we get a caution, with around 40 to go, I think I have to pit, assuming the rest of the field is going to pit too. Then it might be a fuel economy run to the end. Next race on this season will be the first of 4 50% races, and it will take place at the Auto Club Speedway and or California Speedway, of course, in this game. So that will be just a 250-mile, 125-lap race. Fuel window will be a little bit accelerated, with it being a 50% race as well. Yeah, definitely, saving gas running in the draft behind the 144. If I was leading in a typical situation, that wouldn't be the case. Just keep it green, NASCAR. Blaney bump drafting through the tri-oval, got a little too much on the left rear corner panel, the 144. He got up against the wall. Blaney cleared him into turn 1. Have to find a way to get organized back together again. Try to stall his momentum out a little bit here first, so that way when he makes the pass on us, we'll open him up through 3 and 4. Try to dive in line behind him. Try to make this successful switch. James Pascal, thanks for tuning in. Yeah, get the Triple H shirt. Nobody's mentioned that yet. I wondered if it was like legible in the camera. It is Monday night after all. Yeah, it is definitely time to play the game. EA Sports, it's in the game. I was absolutely going to notice. Alright, well, the lead was up about 3 seconds. Dropped down to about 1.7 in the midst of making a little bit contact that left rear corner panel, 144. Had to get in front of him. So he got a little loose and reorganized back together with Blaney bump drafting this 144 in the draft again. Trying to keep these speeds up. Oh boy. Pushing into the corner. I hit him square that time. That was just a matter of being in the middle of the corner when that took place, but hey, he kept it off the wall. We didn't really lose too much momentum there, all things considered. We're down to 41 laps to go in the Daytona 500. Blaney is just pushing hard at this point. Wants to win this race so badly. That's insane. It took me till NASCAR 07 to win the Daytona 500 with Mark Martin on these EA games. With the full races. And here we are with Dave Blaney trying to do the same thing. On the same game. Back-to-back Daytona 500 wins for me. We're going to lap the 144. It's going to drop in line now behind Paul Menard. Menard just scraped the wall off turn 4. Blaney going to catch him quickly now in the tri-oval. 40 laps to go in the Daytona 500. Saw the meme of Dominic and Liv. On the left, chicken tenders. In the middle. And Dom loves his chicken tendies. You know, the Punk Rollins and Drew McIntyre stuff has been great, but honestly, the whole Judgment Day thing since Rhea got hurt, I feel like has been my favorite storyline, low key. I don't know what it is. Like, I feel like everybody that's involved in it is just doing such a great job. They're all playing their parts well. Scraping the wall. Oh, Paul Menard. Now he got tight, made contact with Dave Blaney. Chicken nuggets aren't bad. I'm more of a chicken wings guy myself. She chose the chicken. Still can't believe he left. Left mommy. Who would leave mommy? Oh my gosh. Struggling to keep it off the wall right now. Two times in a row off turn 4. Scraped the wall a little bit. Haven't hit it hard, so again we're keeping the fenders on it at the very least. So I left the 144 and I got in line behind Paul Menard instead. Kind of struggled to get back in a rhythm again. And Tony Stewart's kind of slowly creeping in on Paul Menard once more. GC1424, thanks for tuning in. Who replaces Joey Logano in Michigan? Well, they suspend Logano a race or something? I missed something? Got a lot of smoke up here. Staying green. Look at all the skid marks off turn 4 too. I don't know if that's from the entire race or just since the restart. They're trying to wreck again. I really don't want them to. My best chance to win this thing is going green to the finish. Looks like Dale Jr.'s in second, by the way. Should be suspended for what he did. What, on pit road? I haven't seen like a great clip of that, to be completely honest, so I don't really say this as a Logano fan. I honestly don't really know much of what he did. I heard about him kind of like basically revving his engine up, I guess. Maybe spinning his tires a little bit on pit road in front of Austin Dillon's pit crew. Definitely a big no-no. But I feel like we've also seen this, you know, in the past too. I'm not condoning it by any means, but I'd be shocked. Clip of it on X. Yeah, the only thing I really saw was like as it kind of happened live from the camera angles that NBC had at the track, which was like a pretty short clip before they went back to like Austin Dillon on the front stretch. Full burnout in the stall. I'll have to look at the clip, honestly. Wouldn't it be just insane though to really think about in retrospect that like everything that happened, and I feel like the NASCAR YouTube community kind of like fashion, like, the NASCAR system for Austin Dillon doing what he did, only for, like, Joey Logano, the guy he spun initially, to be the one to get suspended. Yeah, I'll have to... Oh, jeez. Menard hit the wall right off of turn 4. And Blaney got right into the left rear corner panel of him. Using your view. Yeah, I'll have to look at it. I can't give any, like, insight on that because I haven't seen anything. I'm not on social media enough to kind of see that stuff anyway. But yeah, I'll have to check it out after the stream. Man, that contact with Menard really hurt. Johnson's going to take the lead now through 3 and 4. Blaney was doing so good for so long. It was just a freak thing. Menard got the wall up, turn 4, and it ran into him. Really nowhere to go. Now Johnson to the lead. Earnhardt to second. Blaney back to third. Trying to hang in the draft before the 8 the 48, trying to pull away from the 22. Blaney's ran a clean race all day long. We capitalize on it and get the Daytona 500 victory. Big run down the backstretch, trying to get them both for the lead. He's going to get Earnhardt. Clears the 8. And the 48 is clear, but now the bottom's open for Earnhardt, and he's going to get right back through the lead off of turn 4. Junior Nation's probably going wild. He takes the lead in the 500 with 32 laps to go. Again, everybody still has to pit one more time. Haven't seen any lead lap cars back to pit road yet. Oh, big block by Dale Jr. Wasn't clear. Kind of got launched out into turn 1. Lenny just trying to hold the 48 car behind him a little bit. Hope to get a push on the back stretch. Johnson kind of hanging on the inside. He's not really giving the 22 a push. Blaney underneath. I still don't know how I ended up spinning out in the dual race on the last lap. Like, I've clipped the apron a couple times in this race. I did it in practice. Even my first lap of qualifying, I kind of clipped the apron a little bit. Clipped the apron in 3 and 4 in the dual race. I spun out while leading on the last lap. Like, how did that happen? I was kind of paranoid about it, honestly, going into this, but now that we're 170 laps in, I haven't had anything like that happen to me. I'm kind of scratching my head a little bit as to how that even happened in the first place. Oh, Blaney back to the lead again into turn 3. Clear up. Stay out of the pits this time. 30 laps to go. Again, it'll be left side tires only on the final stop of the race. Whether it takes place under caution or under green. 2-tire strategy has worked all day long. Got to stay with it. Don't want to potentially lose time on pit road. In return, we should gap these guys a little bit again before having the race to the finish. We'll have 29 laps to go at the line. Half tempted to pit this time, to be completely honest. We'll go one more lap. Nope, they're pitting, I'm pitting. Oh, I sped. That was such a late decision to pit. Oh, man. Is that going to do Dave Blaney in a speeding penalty on pit road? Gotta make this stop clean at the very least. It is going to be a clean stop. Topping off. Oh my gosh. My crew chief said the leaders were pitting. I would assume that it was more cars in the top 5 behind us. I thought that Earnhardt and Johnson were coming in, and that's why I pitted. Here's Sadler and Gordon. No traffic up ahead. Blaney's going to go to the racing surface here. Yeah, it was just too late of a decision to pit. I was going to plan on staying out one more. Mayfield just hit the wall getting around me. He didn't need to do all that. Oh, boy. Still on the lead lap, but when is Dale Jr. and Jimmy Johnson going to pit now? And there's no drafting help either for Dave Blaney at the moment. Yeah, we're definitely good to the end on fuel. It's not even a question. Some draft off of whoever that was. 144 coming out of the pits. Earnhardt trying to go down, catch some draft off Dave Blaney. Blaney trying to break it. Now has to go to the bottom into 3 and 4. Looks like Earnhardt's pitting this time. I believe Johnson will be pitting this time as well. Well, moment of truth. Who's going to be the leader? Can the 22 get out ahead of the 48 and the 8 when they leave pit road the next time? Kurt Busch still out on the track and leading this race. I think I'm probably going to get the third. I think I'm going to get past everybody. Well, there's Menard. Sadler wasn't around us, though, and he's right on my back bumper right now. Not going to let Sadler go around me at the moment yet. I want to see if we can get ahead of the 48 and the 8 first. So Blaney just trying to block Elliott. Looks like Kurt Busch staying out of the pits at least one more lap. Casey Kane. Not sure where Dale Jr. and Jimmy Johnson are exactly. Mark Martin. I don't know how much time we lost, but we lost a lot of time. Gonna have to let the 38 go. Drop in line behind him. I mean, I had a flawless race with a not great car. Made the most of it. Strategy was perfect. Strategy's still good. I just sped on pit road. And it was only because I made the late dive, because I hadn't been close to speeding on pit road all day. I'd really been taking it kind of easy into the pits to avoid something like that happening. We're not out of it. And there's still 25 laps to go, and I think Earnhardt and Johnson are like those next two cars up there. So Sadler and Blaney stay together consistently here. They can catch them. There is time. Tough to tell exactly how far off the lead they are. You just got to make sure all these bump drafts go perfectly well. Again, just cannot afford to lose any time here if you're Dave Blaney. Kurt Busch coming out of the pits. Another spot. Out to the outside of Sadler, unfortunately, in the middle of 1 and 2 there. Should lead the most laps. Yeah, it's going to be close between me and the 48. Especially the 48 cycles right back into the lead here again. I mean, we haven't heard anything from our crew chief at all. So I didn't lead any laps until what, like lap 90 or something like that before I finally took the lead. So Johnson led for a lot at the beginning of the race. He didn't lead all the first like just less than 90 laps of the race, but he probably led a good 60, 70 laps or so. We're kind of trading the lead back and forth quite a bit pretty much any time since. Plus, you got to remember, like, there was a good chunk I didn't lead after the lap 102 caution. Took me another 20 laps or so to get back to the lead. Blaney had a run, maybe didn't time it out perfect off of turn 2, but he gets to the inside of Sadler, passes him for position, now is with Dale Jr. and gives him a bump draft to the end of the back straightaway. Still pushing him off into turns 3 and 4. Kevin Harvick is on pit road from the lead currently. Push off the exit of turn 4 here for Blaney to Earnhardt as they close on Jimmy Johnson. And Johnson trying to close on a lapper. Blaney to the outside of the 8. Oh, man, that was not intentional to even try to make a pass on him yet. I know we're close to the 48. Unless he gets held up by the lap car up here, which isn't impossible. Earnhardt still underneath the 22. Blaney didn't even clear Dale Jr. Johnson still struggling to get by the lap car at the moment of David Stremme. Big run again by Dave Blaney. Now he's going to try to make the pass on him, only because Johnson got held up just enough. Blaney going to get by David Stremme. Yeah, Blaney's still in this, even with the speeding penalty. Right side tire is going to have to go 60 laps to the end from when they were last changed, and he did lock him up coming into the pits that last time. 21 laps to go, and Blaney is back out in front in the Daytona 500. I had a chance to clear high, but I didn't want to. Maybe a little too patient there. It's all right. Better be safe than sorry. Still got 21 to go. Trying to get the most laps led if possible. Big run getting into the corner. It is tight. Now Blaney's clear off turn 4. So officially back in the lead at the line with 20 to go in the Daytona 500. Top 4 under a blanket. Dave Blaney, Jimmy Johnson, Dale Jr. and Elliott Sadler. Johnson to the outside of the 22 of Blaney. What a speed week. I mean, we qualified 40th, 7th in the duel, and here we are with a chance to win the Daytona 500. You just don't know with this equipment how many more chances we'll have to actually win a race the rest of the year. And obviously, this is the biggest one. Everybody wants to win the Daytona 500 no matter who you are or what equipment you're in. You're in the race, you have a chance. 19 to go. Earnhardt with a run to the outside of Dave Blaney. Sadler with the 22 and the 48 and the 8 are working together on the outside. And he sails it off into the corner. Slides clear. Now Sadler to the bottom. Narrow off of turn 4. Just enough of a hole to get down to the bottom. Sadler leads at Daytona now. He never has luck on super speedways, but he's having a good run at it here. And clear. Just slingshot after slingshot. One driver to the next. What a battle. "17 laps left. Sadler above the 22. Johnson going with Elliott Sadler. But Blaney's going to squeeze himself in there. Only the 38 gets by. Sadler might have gotten a little too far out ahead. Quick pass into turn 3 again for the 22. Clear. Honestly, I feel more comfortable with the car now than what I did at the end of the dual race in the, honestly, same exact circumstance. With 2 older tires, a handful of cars in contention for the win in the lead pack at the end of the race. And the only reason I feel more confident now and not as nervous about it is only, oh boy. 3 wide for the lead. I couldn't clear Earnhardt. Oh, yep, now we're clear. Junior tried to take him to the bottom. Gordon ended up going with us instead of the 8. Oh boy. We're all right. I was going to say I'm just used to the car and its ill handling now. 186 laps plus a 60 lap duel. That's why I feel more confident that I can maybe pull this off versus in the dual race. Only for that reason. Because I wasn't exactly... It still felt weird. Not used to driving this badly handling of a car at a super speedway, but we haven't been in this kind of equipment on this game before. I don't know that I ever have been, to be completely honest. Played this game as a kid growing up. I probably wouldn't have had the patience to try to do this. Especially in a full race circumstance. 14 to go. Yeah, it's definitely a great race. We haven't had the big one today. We've had 4 cautions, but we haven't had the big one. We'll see if that sentiment will stay true. The only Ford up in contention for the win right now without a restart is Elliott Sadler. The only Dodge in contention is Dave Blaney. Blaney does not fire off well on the restarts. That's another reason that you would want to have the lead in case a caution were to come out behind you, because it'd be easier to play defense from first. It'd be very difficult to get the pass done on the restart getting up to speed, and if he loses too much time getting up to speed, he may not have enough time to get it back to the finish when we have this few of laps to go. 12 right now, and you would exclude 3 more with a caution. There's 2 more lap cars a little further up ahead, but these guys keep racing like this. I don't think they'll catch him. Dale Jr. slipping behind the top 4. At least for now, but I don't think he's out of it by any means. Gordon pulling out a line down in front of Elliott Sadler. But Sadler didn't have enough of a run because there really wasn't anybody behind him that whole back straightaway. Now Gordon's coming with a run. Blaney going to just try to protect the bottom on the 38 for the moment. Gordon and Johnson, the Hendrick Chevys, are working together to try to take the lead in this race. Gordon leads that lap at the line. And clear, high. But Sadler had a big run down low. And now Gordon's going to try to cross the 22 over. But Johnson didn't go with his teammate that time. He went to the outside. Blaney was able to hold on to second. Oh, got to push in there. Stayed in the gas, kept it off the wall. Blaney had a run. Dive bombing underneath Elliott Sadler. 11 laps left in the Daytona 500. Side by side for the lead. Blaney was trying to side draft the 38. Couldn't do it. Lost a spot to Gordon on the bottom. Jeff Gordon with a run, trying to get underneath the 38. 3 wide for the lead into 3. Blaney gets by Gordon. Oh, he cleared Sadler high a little early. Trouble up in front of us as well. A lot of smoke there. A lot of contact. 22 was not clear. Gordon getting away with it for now. Now a little more contact with the 48. Got to get our speed back and then let the 38 back in front of us again. I was just sliding and I was just hoping I'd have him clear by the time I was sliding up towards the wall. I didn't have him cleared. And Gordon got through to the bottom. I think those two lap cars were the ones that got together up there. There goes Sadler inside of Blaney through the tri-oval. Blaney's going to have to make the quick dive in line behind him, and Jimmy Johnson's there, so he should keep the 22 speed up as he has to drop to third. These guys are about a second behind Jeff Gordon. I'm pressing on the gas so hard right now, my fingers are wearing out. Oh, Gordon got caught up behind the lap car. Big time on turn 2. Blaney's going to try to go for second then. He's got it. Gordon under Mayfield. Mayfield hits the wall in 1 and 2. 8 laps to go at the line. Everybody's making mistakes right now. Pressing on the gas so hard. My finger hurts. But I can't lift. Bump draft, get out ahead from the cars behind, and Blaney is clear into turn 1 for the lead. I think my fingers wore out because of the 500 miles here, plus the 60 laps that we ran earlier, the practice laps I ran, qualifying. I ran a lot of laps at Daytona today. Seven to go this time by. Oh, I thought it was Tony Stewart in contention, but it was lap car Jeremy Mayfield back there. I was going to say, where did Tony come from? Earnhardt's still kind of slowly lagging back there, but does seem like Dale Jr. is losing a little bit of pace late. Blaney blocking top to bottom. Doesn't want to lose the lead again. Stays in front of Gordon. Here comes Elliott Sadler to the bottom. Big block there. Back to the outside in front of Gordon. Dave Blaney holds on to the lead. Will be coming up on 6 to go in the Daytona 500 this time by. Oh, Gordon might have scraped the wall off 4. No run on the outside. That lap car, Jeremy Mayfield, is giving the 24 some big pushes. Now Johnson slides in line with Gordon. And now goes back with the 38 on the bottom, so Blaney's going to stay pinned to the yellow line. Sadler clears the 24 high, blocking the 48. 22 blocks the 38 to the bottom. Sadler goes high. Blaney stays on the bottom into 3. Sadler getting a push from Gordon. Here comes Elliott Sadler to the outside of the racetrack. Blaney just trying to protect the bottom. Sadler clear again. 5 laps to go in the Daytona 500. It's just so hard to block both lanes when the runs are coming from both sides. Blaney looking for the slingshot again into turn 1. And he's got it. Yeah, I'll run the Busch Series race this week as well. Not sure exactly what night yet, but the plan is to run it. Johnson back into second. Johnson won the actual 2006 Daytona 500, so it'd be fitting if he actually wins this race. 4 to go. And the leaders are closing on these 2 lap cars up ahead. I hope they just get out of the way, ideally. Blaney trying to get a draft off of him. But it's not enough of a draft as Johnson in the 48 is going to get underneath. Blaney still getting a pull off of Tony Raines in the 96. Lappers are side by side. Blaney trying to side draft the 48. Has to get back to the bottom behind him. Off turn 4. Johnson underneath Tony Raines and Kyle Petty. 3 laps to go with the line this time by. Mayfield's out ahead of the 24 and the 38 now. 3 lap cars. Separating the top couple in the field. And Blaney trying to slide back up in front of Johnson, and he does. Clear. And the lapper of Tony Raines is going to get back by to the inside. Blaney stays in the draft behind Raines on the back straightaway. Looks underneath him into turn 3. Blaney clears him with ease. Johnson coming behind the 22. 2 to go at the line this time by. 5 miles left in the Daytona 500. Gordon getting a draft off the 96 car as he tries to pull closer. Sadler drafting behind Gordon. They're still in it. Bill Jr.'s really lost the top 4 in the late going to this race. My thumb feels like it's like going numb, by the way. Smashing the gas. No, Dale Jr. is back there. I see him. He's caught up with Sadler. He's on the back bumper of the 38. The Pied Piper is coming through. Oh boy, 3 wide for second. Thought 2 lanes was going to be hard enough to block. Now we got to block all 3. White flag will be this time by. Gordon clears Johnson. Blaney slides a little wide. Sadler underneath him. A bounce off the wall. A bounce into Elliott Sadler. Back to the top to cover Jeff Gordon. White flag in the air. 1 lap to go. I had to lean on him a little bit. I thought I was race over if I didn't. That wall killed my momentum. Can Blaney block for just a little longer? Sadler to the outside with a run. Sadler to the lead. Blaney's got to get back in line behind him and hope for one last shot at glory. Blaney with a run into turns 3 and 4. Oh no! He slides into him. Oh, back across Jimmy Johnson's car, and around goes Dave Blaney. Up and over at Daytona. Oh, gets just pile driven by Kevin Harvick. Oh my goodness. No. Oh, there's the big one. We didn't even make it to the finish line. Oh my gosh. Elliott Sadler wins the Daytona 500. That was a nasty collision. I don't know who hit me. Ugh. Dang it, man. Where did I finish? 25th. Last car in the lead lap. Rib injuries. Dave Blaney's going to be out for the next couple races, I think. Ah. No. Yeah, I mean, he got by us. He had a run in 1 and 2. He cleared us. Back straightaway. I had to hop in line. I was luckily able to do it. I had one more chance to get him in 3. If I didn't make the move going into turn 3, I don't think I was going to be able to like wait again until the front stretch because it usually takes me a whole straightaway to get the run. So I went for it. And I started sliding up the racetrack, and I just didn't want to lift. Because if I lifted, I knew I wasn't going to be able to win the race. He was probably going to get back by me off turn 4. I've had the car sliding up on me like all race. I carry a lot of speed into the corner. I have to lift a little bit. But I knew I couldn't lift in that situation. It was the last lap, last corner. So when I clipped him and I got against the wall, I kind of turned back across his front bumper. When I came back down the racetrack, apparently, who was even there? I don't even know who was there. Was it Johnson? It was either Johnson or Gordon, I think. And then I ended up turning off of their front bumper, and I went up and over once I got down into the grass. Did I blow over, or did the car tumble when I got to the apron? And then proceeding the flip, get drilled from behind by I think the 144 car, and just completely blew my motor, or my fuel cell, whatever it blew. I DNF'd. And I couldn't make it. It ended up actually flipping me a second time is what it did. But I flipped twice. It was like 2 different crashes. I was just hoping I could get back to the line after the first crash. And I thought I was still in the top 10, so I just tried to get back onto the track. I can't believe that happened, man. We lost all those points, too. I not only lost the race, but I lost all those points. Ugh. It's the Daytona 5. I'm not upset with not flipping. It sucks. I wish what I would have done after I flipped, I would have just stayed on the apron of the racetrack instead of coming back across the track. I had a tire that blew out, but I don't know if it was before I had contact with the other car or not. Because I was driving on a blown tire somewhere around there, and it was kind of hard to steer before I got hit by somebody else and then flipped. I think I blew my tire right there. I think whoever the first car was that clipped me was the one that blew my tire. Probably blew the right rear out. And then the second guy came in and killed me. The nastiest crash in Dave Blaney's stock car racing career. Dang. Elliott Sadler started 41st and won the Daytona 500. I don't even know how he won. Because I got into the wall, obviously, off of his front bumper. How the heck did he win the race? You would have thought his momentum was going to be killed. He still held on to win by 67 one-thousandths of a second over Jeff Gordon. Gordon finishes second. Jimmy Johnson led 83 laps, finishing third. And he did lead the most laps in the race, so we didn't even get the most laps led either. Dale Jr. finished fourth. Mark Martin fifth. Is that Kurt Busch in sixth? Yeah, Kurt Busch sixth. Kevin Harvick seventh. Ryan Newman eighth. Matt Kenseth ninth. I was hoping I would slide across the line upside down like Clint Boyer in 07, but I didn't. I didn't make it there. I only made it to like the grass in the tri-oval. Oh, man. Have you ever? That's a tough way to lose the Daytona 500 right there. Newman 8th, Kenseth 9th, J.J. Yaley gets the top 10. Yeah, last car in the lead lap at 25th. Led 70 laps in the Daytona 500. God bless America. How? How did we not finish better? Well, I mean, I know how, but it still stings. Jeff Green, Sterling Marlin, Denny Hamlin, Jeff Burton, Greg Biffle, Robbie Gordon, Reed Sorensen, and of course Dave Blaney all DNF'd. 8 DNFs total in tonight's race. Mark Martin finished 5th. What was that? 3 hours, 2 minutes, 28 seconds total time of the race. 4 cautions. This race ended with about 120 plus lap green flag run to the checker. 44 to lead changes. And Elliott Sadler wins the Daytona 500 from 41st. Crazy. We did so much all speed. Didn't make a single mistake until I sped on pit row. We still came back from that. I mean, in hindsight, if I would have known that was going to happen, I would have just taken second place. But, I mean, you can't. It's a Daytona 500. At least I didn't try to intentionally wreck anybody, so I'll give myself that. You know, I'm not upset about that. I just tried the old slide job and turned myself, unfortunately. Wasn't clear. Honestly, even if I was clear, well, if I wasn't clear, obviously I wasn't clear, so I ended up kind of hitting Sadler, then hitting the wall. I wonder if I would have been able to keep it off the wall if I cleared the 38. Because if I did, I think I still could have beaten whoever it was that had the run on the bottom back to the line, potentially. If I could have gotten a good push. But, yeah, not clearing Sadler was where that wreck transpired. You know, worst case scenario, even if I cleared him, I hit the wall and then I finished second that way too. But man, that just... If you were clear, not sure it would have worked. Yeah, it was tough. It was Jimmy? Okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was Jimmy or Gordon because Gordon ended up second, so I wasn't sure who exactly it was. I'd have to go back and rewatch that again after the stream. Next race on this schedule is going to be at California Speedway. It'll be a 50% race. Man, I don't know how many wins I'm gonna have all year, so it stings not to get that one right there. Yeah, I mean, all in all, Sadler ended up winning the 500 still, so I guess it all worked out for him in the end anyway. That's Daytona, baby. 24th in points. Just got to be in the top 10 at the end of 26 races, but it stinks starting behind. That's what I don't like. We could have been top 3 in points if I just would have not wrecked on the final corner of the race. That's twice today. The duel, I wrecked leading on the final lap, and I wrecked leading on the last lap here, too. Gosh darn it, man. We're so close to getting the sweep, and then we just, like... At least I finished top 10 in the duel, but that didn't pay any points, unfortunately. Man. Well, I appreciate everybody being on for the ride in this one. That was intense. As wild of a finish with Daytona 500 as you're going to see right here on KRC. Appreciate it, everybody. I will see you guys tomorrow night. I'm not sure exactly what race I'm going to run next. It's either going to be that 50% race at Auto Club, or it's going to be Daytona for the Busch Series to get the season opener there. Try to get redemption from tonight. As far as going forward with the NASCAR 7 content, only the truck and the Busch Series, and whenever I start the Modified Series races, those will be on the midweek streams during the channel. The only chance I'll be able to do full Cup races will be Mondays and Fridays going forward. Just for, sleep purposes, the races get done a little later, but it's easier for me to start it at 6 and get it done at a time like this, versus if I were to start it at like 9 o'clock, it'd be a lot tougher, definitely, to get done. It was a great race. I mean, all the way through. I wish we could have seen how close that finish was between Sadler and Gordon from their advantage point, because it was a photo finish still at the line between the two of them, and Sadler won, but photo finish, you had a car flipping multiple times in the background, Dave Blaney. It's a Daytona 500, what can you say? Appreciate everybody tuning in for both streams, this and the dual race stream earlier today. Be sure to hit the like button, subscribe for more NASCAR content on the daily. See you tomorrow, everybody, for more NASCAR 07 content.